Welcome back to a new episode of the Delusional Growth Podcast with me, Dina Faith. Today we're talking about one of my favorite experiences ever in life, which was meeting this wise woman, Aya. I love this woman dearly, and I wanted to talk about my experience for such a long time. And I just had the calling that the right time was right now. Before we begin, please give me a thumbs up, write some comments, support me. I really, really appreciate your support. And this is such a deep topic for me, and yet I have no idea what I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna let the spirit talk through me because I've been going through a very deep transformation in the last 6, 7 months since I met with this incredible lady, this wise woman, Aya. Um, so I always knew I wanted to meet her, and this was actually not my first time meeting her. I had met her 2, 3 years ago, but that experience was, although it was very transformative, it didn't have an ongoing, lasting impact in my life. And later I realized it was also related to where I was at in that stage of my life because back then I was telling that I was committed to growth, but I wasn't really committed. This time when I met her, I was really committed to be like the best of the best at everything I do. And um, I was already at a great place in my life. I was doing really, really well business wise, financially. I had just had my highest cash month, and after that, I had my highest cash month as well. um, so I was doing really good in many areas. I had just moved to Lisbon. I was excited. I was launching so many programs. I was in a very good place. Emotionally, I had just restarted therapy. This was like almost a year ago. And the only place that I was feeling like I was struggling was with my love life. I really wanted to manifest my man, the person who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And that was my biggest intention meeting with Aya. It was just to open my heart up to love. And oh boy, did I open. I really did. I realized that I had so many layers of past experiences at my heart that were resting, that made their home in my body. Because, as you know, body keeps a score, right? So my body kept the score on a lot of things that I thought I let go of, but I actually didn't. And up until that moment, my coaching was a lot in the head. I would coach my clients this way. I had met with things too, such as breath work and tapping and stuff like that, but I was still a lot in the mind. And after that encounter, I understood the importance of the body. It's so important because I could literally see all this like knots I had in my body, knots of negative emotions, feelings, heartbreak from 5 years ago that I thought I let go of. I didn't. And all these people who made me sad and angry and mad and disappointed and all those things. So I realized a new layer of emotions that have opened up for me. That's why I say my heart broke open because the first night that I met her, I cried the entire night. I cried so freaking much and it was so good. It felt so good. It felt like something opened up in me. And this is why I will keep sharing pictures of me crying, videos. I'll keep sharing the raw moments of my life because I know how healing it is to cry. I know how healing it is to actually feel and express your emotions before they make space, before they find a home in your body. It's so important to let them go, you know. And um, I had a very interesting experience happening a few days ago, actually, which made me even more inspired to shoot this episode. So I was just gonna fall asleep. It was like midnight, and I saw this message from my mom asking for something, like in a very gentle, very loving, compassionate way. But it triggered so much in me, triggered so much. And I just wrote her an answer, text her back, and I like tried, which is a prohibited word, by the way, in my world, because you shouldn't try things. There's either do or do not, right? But anyway, I tried going back to sleep, but I couldn't because I just had something, I could feel it in my throat, so potent. It was as if someone got something, someone, something got stuck in my throat. So I just couldn't sleep, and then I started tapping. I started tapping my throat and all the other places. If you don't know what tapping is, it's a very, very transformative technique. Highly recommend you utilize it. But then I started, like, I bursted into tears, and then I realized another layer of emotions within me that got stuck, that I thought that I worked on with almost 4 years of therapy and coaches and healers and all of that. Turns out there's always a deeper layer that you can go. But the best part of it is that I could work on that on myself, by myself, that night. And I cried for a couple, I don't know, an hour. The next day I woke up, it was still there. And I was like, I can't believe it. It's the first time in my life I'm feeling it so strongly, because I learned that emotions live in the body. So when you're feeling something, it's never what you're feeling, it's actually where you're feeling. And first night, my meeting with Aya, I felt this, and then I had more and more and more layers, and the most recent layer was a couple days ago, that I was immediately feeling this. It was a feeling of guilt, actually, in my throat. So then the next day I meditated again, and I cried again, and I let it out. And if you're watching this, let this be an invitation for you to just cry it out, let it out, express, and never tell your kids not to cry, because it's not good for them. It's actually very bad for them. So that was the first night with with my dearest wise woman friend, Aya. And then we got to hang out with another night, and there I saw all the things that I wasted actually my energy on. And in day-to-day life, we don't realize this, but it's so important what we choose to invest our energy on. And that time, that night, that day, I realized, wow, I'm wasting so much energy on things that actually are not for my highest good. So I had to let go of a lot of past memories of all those things that, maybe brought instant gratification, but were not for my highest good. And it was so clear that night. And we don't see these energy leaks very clearly on a day-to-day basis, because we are so used to living in this 3D world that we only think like, if something is flesh and bone, if we taste and smell and touch or hear something, only then it's real, but it could not be further from the truth. So there is a big realm of realities which we cannot see or taste or touch or smell, which we cannot sense with our five senses. And whenever you are giving your energy, investing your energy on anything that means you are investing your energy on that, even though you don't immediately see the result. And I was just talking about this with one of my clients actually, who was struggling with addiction. And, this holds especially true for addictions like alcohol, drugs, or addiction to a person or a bad habit like porn or so many things. And we don't always see the immediate impact. You say, okay, I'm going to have a glass of wine. And then you have a glass of wine 3 nights a week. And at the end of that week, you think you're fine, but you are actually getting in debt to your future self because you're borrowing the energy from your future self when you keep engaging in those addictions. And I could see that very clearly that night, that the things that I was investing my energy on were not really supporting the woman that I was choosing to become. So I'm gonna ask you today, who are you choosing to become? And the version of you you're choosing to become, what does she do? What does she invest in? How does she spend her days? Think about those things, and not in a sense of like a day or a week or a month or even a year. Think about who you want to become 5 to 10 years from now. This is the best interview question, right? Like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? But it's such a good question because the actions you're taking today are either making you closer to the version you want to create, or you're running away from the version that you say you want to create. Second night that I spent with my friend Aya was also a lot about forgiveness, because we don't know how much we hold at our heart, how much energy we still have for the people that we are upset with, for people who broke our heart, for everyone. It's not enough only to experience those emotions, to express them, but we also get to let them go. We need to forgive them, not because of them, but because we deserve peace. And that night was a lot about forgiveness. And I remember after I came home and I spent the entire day journaling about all the people that I needed to forgive. Some of them I didn't even remember their name, but I still needed to forgive them. And that was huge because I realized, wow, there was so much space in my energy field for these people. And one more thing was also focusing on the process and not, I just took my notebook to see the notes I wrote, to focus on the process and not on the results. Because up until that moment that I met with my friend Aya, I was really result oriented. My result was get to 10K months. Okay, now get to 20K months. Now get to 30K. And somewhere along the lines, I lost my passion. I lost my motivation. And I started reconsidering what ambition means to me. Who am I without work? Who am I without ambition? Who am I without my drive? And I realized there was not so much of me left if you took those things away. And that really hurt me. And that's why I went into a deep, dark period of 3-4 months where I couldn't work. I didn't feel like doing anything. And I just questioned, who am I? Who am I really? Because I could not be this person anymore who just focused on the material goals. Because I realized I was so much more than that, and I needed to readjust my calling because I made material success synonymous with success. I made achievement synonymous with love. This is how I felt I was loved. And this led a lot of dark nights of the soul. I would just cry. I wouldn't feel like doing anything. And in that period, I got harassed as well, which is a story for another episode. But I was feeling so broken and sad and unmotivated, and I was like, really? Is this why I met with you? Thank you, Aya. But I needed to go through that journey so that I could become the person I am today, so that I could sit in silence without all these distractions of like more and more and more, so I could find my way back to what my real mission is. And my real mission was so much more than just doing social media. Yes, social media is a part of it, but it's so much about teaching people, especially women, to find their voice, to embody their worth, to share their gifts, their mission, right? To share their voice. It's so important for me to see transformations like that, and I wouldn't be able to find that if it wasn't for all these dark nights of the soul. So focusing on the process rather than the result is so important. And I just had this conversation with my team member actually, because she was feeling sad that we didn't achieve our goals for last week. And I said, hold on. Arbitrary goals of like getting 20 followers, getting 100K or whatever, they don't matter. The process you implement in order to achieve those goals, they matter. Because if you stick to your goal and if you say, I'm going to keep trying until I achieve it, then it doesn't matter when you achieve it, because you're in this for life, right? And I was talking to another friend about the differentiation between ambition and dedication or devotion. Commitment versus discipline, right? So ambition is really focused on the end goal, whereas devotion and dedication is focused on the process. And this is what we want. We want to see who we are going to become. And every single time you catch yourself saying things like, oh, when X, Y, and Z happens, then I'll be happy, then you're lying to yourself, because it can happen, and it will if you're committed to it. But you can be happy for a day or two or a week or a month or even a year, but at some point the law of familiarity will kick in. And if you're not committed to the process, it will disappear like that. So let this episode be a reminder for you to focus on the process and not the end goal. And let go of all the layers that you don't need, all the sadness and anger and frustration, all of that. Just let yourself feel all of that and peel off layer by layer by layer. And this is a process that you get to do regularly. It's like it's hygiene for your soul. It's personal spiritual hygiene that we get to do on a regular basis, because we live in a world that still needs a lot of healing. It's not focused on abundance and gratitude and joy and love. It's so much more focused on lack and, feeding off of our imperfections. The prayer just started. Such a good sign to end today's podcast. I'm sending you so much love. Please leave a comment and come connect with me on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you found and how you found this episode. Sending you so much love.